Imagine this. You wake up, the sun is shining, you pour your coffee, you sit down at your desk just full of hope, right?
Oh, yeah, a perfect morning.
Right. And you decide to check just like one single notification on your phone. You blink, you look up at the clock, and it is somehow 1:00 p.m.
It's terrifying how fast it happens.
It really is. The morning is just gone, and you haven't done a single thing you actually set out to do. So welcome to the English Boost podcast. We've all been there, and today we are exploring some incredible source material that combines practical time management psychology with a genuine masterclass in upgrading your English vocabulary.
Exactly. We are looking at making that jump from, basic English to what we call natural English.
Yeah, specifically by examining how the words we use reflect our very messy, very human struggle with time.
It's a crucial lens to look through, honestly, because language isn't just a way to describe your reality. It actually constructs your reality.
Right.
So if you change your vocabulary around time, you fundamentally change your perspective on your own behavior.
And I want to set the record straight right from the start for everyone listening. This is not like some intense lecture where we yell at you to wake up at 4 a.m., take an ice bath, and hustle until you collapse.
No, definitely not.
We're taking a highly compassionate, honest look at real life. I mean, the micro distractions, the scrolling, the guilt, and that weird moment at midnight where you just stare at the ceiling, wondering where the hours went.
Right, because punishing yourself doesn't magically create more hours in the day. It just adds guilt. The way our sources frame the disappearance of time is a perfect place to start. They really focus on how natural phrasing provides insight rather than just judgment.
Okay, let's unpack this, because the material highlights a phenomenal natural English phrase, which is slip away. In basic English, if you spend 3 hours staring at a screen, you would probably just say, I wasted time.
Yeah, which sounds so harsh.
It does. But saying, my morning slipped away, feels completely different. It provides this built-in emotional cushion.
Well, let's think about why that cushion is even necessary. The word wasted is inherently hostile, It implies intentional sabotage, guilt, total failure.
Like you threw it in the trash on purpose.
Exactly. But when you say time slipped away, you are acknowledging the reality of the situation without burying yourself in heavy judgment. The sources describe it perfectly. It's as if time quietly got up, put on a pair of sunglasses, and walked out the back door without making a single sound.
I love that image of time wearing sunglasses. It's so sneaky.
It really is. You didn't maliciously throw your hours in the garbage. They just evaporated without your conscious consent.
And that sneakiness connects perfectly to another natural English phrase they discuss, which is get carried away. The basic version is just, I watched too many videos.
Right.
But I got carried away, captures what is actually happening in your brain.
Right.
I mean, you didn't consciously decide to watch 15 consecutive videos about how to clean white sneakers with toothpaste and baking soda.
No, the algorithm chose those videos for you.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is where the material introduces a truly magnificent metaphor. Your phone isn't just a piece of glass and metal. It is a small door that leads to 1,000 tiny rooms.
Oh, wow. 1,000 tiny rooms.
Yeah, you open the door intending to just check one quick email, and suddenly you are wandering through a labyrinth. You step into a little boat, the current of the internet river catches you, and it carries you away.
Before you know it, you are lost in what the sources call the time fog. Like you went into the fog for 5 minutes and you come out not knowing what day of the week it is.
Exactly. It's disorienting.
But I want to pause and push back on this a little bit.
Okay, go ahead.
Are we really just helpless victims in a little boat being swept down this internet river completely against our will? Because I sometimes think I am actively looking for an escape hatch.
Interesting. How so?
Well, it feels more like a magician's sleight of hand. While I am purposefully staring at this one flashing notification, the magician is picking my pocket, just stealing my hours. And I am letting the trick happen because I just don't want to look at my real responsibilities.
What's fascinating here is that you are zeroing in on the exact mechanism of avoidance. We like the internet river metaphor because it makes us feel passive, right?
Yeah, takes the blame off us.
But the truth is, we often jump in the water on purpose. It's rarely about the distraction itself. It's about what the distraction allows you to avoid.
Oh, man. That hits close to home.
The source material actually compares this to water leaking from a tiny hole in a bucket. You don't really notice it at first. A minute here, 3 minutes there, but those micro distractions accumulate and suddenly your day is half gone.
And we just let it leak.
We allow that slow leak because looking at the full bucket, the actual heavy tasks we need to accomplish, it triggers real psychological discomfort.
Yes. Okay, so if we know the bucket is leaking, why don't we just plug the hole? That is the part that always gets me.
Because it's hard.
Right. We aren't just easily distracted. We are actively avoiding the work.
Yeah.
Basic English calls this delaying. But the natural English phrase for this is to put off a task.
To put it off.
Yeah, and putting it off implies this ongoing physical relocation. Like you are dragging a heavy box further and further down the road, just hoping it will eventually disappear.
And we push that box because our brains are wired for immediate emotional relief. The sources share an incredibly sharp observation. They say, later is a trap wearing comfortable shoes.
Oh, that is so good. Later is a trap wearing comfortable shoes.
Because in the present moment, saying, I'll do it later, provides an instant hit of dopamine. You feel the relief of not doing the hard thing right now.
It feels great for about 5 minutes.
Right. But later eventually becomes the evening becomes exhaustion, and the exhaustion gets pushed to tomorrow. And tomorrow is just the exact same problem wearing a new shirt.
Same problem wearing a new shirt. That is so painfully accurate. And you can actually physically see this avoidance in your house.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, everyone listening right now probably has what the sources call a laundry chair.
The infamous laundry chair.
Yes. It's that one chair in the corner of your bedroom that starts with just one jacket. Then, a shirt.
Yeah.
Then a towel. And suddenly it's a massive structural monument to the chores you were ignoring.
A monument. That's a great way to put it.
The material rebrands the laundry chair as an emotional storage unit, which is just brilliant.
It is brilliant because it identifies the invisible weight of delayed tasks. Procrastination isn't a time management problem. It is an emotion regulation problem.
Wait, really? Emotion regulation?
Yes. To explain this, the material introduces the concept of the anxiety bakery.
The anxiety bakery. I love that.
When you put off a task, it doesn't just sit in your mind unchanged. It ferments. It grows in your subconscious, exactly like bread dough rising in a warm kitchen.
Oh, wow.
The longer you avoid looking at it, the more the dough expands, spilling over the bowl and taking up all the mental space in your brain.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because that rising dough acts exactly like a horror movie monster.
A horror movie monster.
Think about it. The monster is always terrifying when you can only see its shadow on the wall or hear it scraping the floorboards in the other room. Your brain fills in the gaps and makes it a total nightmare.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
Right. The moment the main character actually opens the door and shines a flashlight directly in the monster's face, you realize it's just a guy in a cheap rubber suit.
Exactly.
But as long as you refuse to look at it, your imagination makes it 10 times worse. Your unstarted task is the monster, and when you finally do pull out your to-do list and look at it, it stares back at you like, and I'm quoting the source here because I just love it, a disappointed ant.
The disappointed ant is such a beautifully specific image.
It really is.
Because it captures that jarring realization that this thing you've been dreading, this thing that has completely destroyed your confidence for 3 days, is actually tiny.
Tiny. Like an ant.
And this raises an important question. Why does a simple ant-sized task transform into a monster in the first place?
Yeah, why do we do that to ourselves?
Neurologically, it's almost always because we are avoiding the very first step. The friction you feel isn't from doing the work. The friction is in starting the work.
Ah, just crossing the starting line.
Exactly. Transitioning from rest to effort causes a brief spike in cortisol, which is a stress hormone. So you delay the start, you get that fake relief we talked about, the dough in the anxiety bakery rises, and the cortisol spike you anticipate for tomorrow becomes even bigger.
So the fear basically just feeds itself.
It does.
How on earth do we break that cycle? Because clearly, just yelling at ourselves to work harder isn't stopping the dough from rising.
No, yelling definitely doesn't work.
So basic English would say, I followed my plan. But the natural English phrase here is staying on track, which I think is a very revealing phrase.
How so?
Well, it implies that there are active, aggressive forces trying to push you off the track. Like you have to fight to stay on it.
There absolutely are forces trying to push you off, both external and internal. The sources vividly describe what happens when you don't stay on track. You become the confused frog.
The confused frog.
Yeah, you jump to your email, ribbit, you jump to your phone, ribbit, you jump to a snack, then to a new browser tab.
Bouncing around.
You are in constant motion, jumping frantically from lily pad to lily pad, but you aren't actually traveling anywhere. You are just depleting your energy through the sheer act of jumping.
I have absolutely been the confused frog.
Yeah,
More times than I'd like to admit.
we all have.
And a lot of that jumping happens because we get tricked into fighting what the sources call tiny fires. We treat every ping and every random thought like a 5-alarm emergency,
Yes, everything feels urgent.
but not every task is a fire. Some are just like a lit match, some are just smoke, and some are completely imaginary fires.
The imaginary fires are the worst.
Right, I know you've experienced this. Suddenly, out of nowhere, you feel this overwhelming, burning need to organize your desk drawer or alphabetize your spice rack right this very second, even though you have a massive project due tomorrow morning.
Oh, the sudden urge to clean. Classic.
I have to ask you, though, why is the human brain so easily tricked by fake productivity?
Yeah.
Like, why does organizing a drawer feel so intensely urgent when the real important work is sitting right there?
Well, it comes back to how our brains process ambiguity and reward. Organizing your desk drawer offers a guaranteed immediate reward.
True. You can see the progress instantly.
Exactly. It has clear boundaries, you know exactly what success looks like, and you can achieve it in 10 minutes. Your brain craves completion and the dopamine hit that comes with it.
Okay, that makes sense.
But the massive project due tomorrow, that is ambiguous. It's difficult, the boundaries are fuzzy, and the reward is far in the future.
It probably involves some cortisol.
Right. Confronted with that ambiguity, your brain panics and actively seeks out a quick, solvable problem to soothe its anxiety. You aren't being productive, you are self-soothing.
Self-soothing with a spice rack.
Yes. As our source points out, time management isn't about doing more. Doing more just makes you busy and exhausted. True time management is about choosing better. Choosing better makes you clear.
Choosing better. Wow. Okay, that completely shifts the paradigm for me. If we are supposed to choose better, then my daily to-do list shouldn't look like a ransom note with 30 impossible demands.
Definitely not a ransom note.
The material actually makes a fantastic distinction here. A to-do list should be a map, not a prison.
A map, not a prison.
Yeah, a map gives you direction and helps you navigate the terrain, whereas a prison just makes you desperately want to tunnel your way out.
And that desire to tunnel out is exactly what happens when we fall into the trap of fantasy planning.
Oh, fantasy planner. Let's talk about that.
This is when we build these pristine, highly optimized schedules. We write down that we are going to wake up at 5:30 a.m., run 5 miles, blend a green smoothie, and cheerfully start working by 7 a.m.
Sounds exhausting just saying it out loud.
Because that plan is built for a fantasy version of you. It's built for a robot. In reality, the real human version of you wakes up at 5:30 a.m. and immediately has to negotiate with the blanket.
The blanket.
And the blanket is a very, very strong opponent.
The blanket has an incredible legal team. You cannot win a negotiation with a warm blanket at 5:30 in the morning. Just 5 more minutes, please.
Exactly. You lose that negotiation every time.
So I know what you're thinking listening to this. You are thinking, great, my bucket is leaking, my bakery is full of anxiety dough, and I keep losing arguments to my blanket. What do I actually do?
A very fair question.
We need a system built for real, tired, easily distracted human beings. And the source material delivers on this with a really pragmatic, guilt-free system. It introduces 2 vital natural English phrases to help us. The first one is, carve out time.
Carve out time.
Yeah, basic English is, I found time. But carve out is so much more aggressive and intentional.
It's a powerful phrase because it implies physical effort. Free time doesn't just politely knock on your front door, hand you a coffee, and announce that it's ready for you to use.
I wish it did.
Right. But no, you have to take a chisel and carve that space out of a chaotic day. You have to aggressively protect the boundary around that time.
And once you carve it out, you have to make the most of it. That's the second phrase. Not just use my time well, you make the most of it.
Making the most of it.
But here is the critical nuance the source adds, and I love this. Making the most of your time does not mean every single second has to be a grind of hyperproductivity.
Thank goodness.
I use a phrase I adore. They say your minutes need lunch breaks too.
Oh, I love that.
Isn't it great? Chosen rest, intentional, guilt-free, peaceful rest is a completely valid and necessary way to make the most of your time. It is the exact opposite of the accidental, foggy scrolling we talked about earlier.
Precisely. I'd argue it's actually more like intentional recovery than just rest. So true.
So how do we translate this into reality? The source outlines a 5-step human-centric plan. Step 1 is the direct antidote to fantasy planning. Limit your focus and choose just 3 things for the day.
3 things, not 20.
Not 20. If you write down 20 things, your amygdala fires up, your brain gets overwhelmed, and as the Sorts jokes, your motivation just leaves the country.
It hops on a plane and it's gone.
Exactly. 3 things are navigable.
And then step 2 takes aim directly at the anxiety bakery. The rule is start with the smallest next action.
The smallest action.
Yeah, don't finish the tax report on your map. Put down, open the spreadsheet.
Oh, that makes a huge difference.
Just lower the barrier to entry so much that the cortisol spike never even happens. You make the first step so tiny you can't possibly say no to it.
Step 3 integrates our new vocabulary. Carve out time for one important thing, whether it's 20 minutes to practice your English pronunciation or 40 minutes for deep work. You don't wait to find the time, you carve it into the schedule. And then step 4, put your distractions away. Physically change your environment. Move the phone to another room. Put it in a drawer. As the source says, make the phone nervous for once.
Make the phone nervous.
Don't rely on your willpower when you could just rely on distance.
And then we reach step 5, which is arguably the most crucial psychological pivot in the entire framework. If you get carried away, if you fall off the track, do not attack yourself. Just return to the plan.
So what does this all mean for you tomorrow morning? Let's really look at step 5, because it is quietly radical.
It really is.
Think about how we usually define staying on track. We usually define it as the state of absolute, unbreakable perfection. And the second we get distracted and check social media, we think, well, I failed. The whole morning is ruined. I might as well scroll for another 2 hours.
The whole day's a wash.
Right. But this system redefines staying on track. It doesn't mean never getting distracted. It defines staying on track simply as the act of coming back.
Just coming back.
You come back without guilt. You come back without punishing yourself. It is profound self-compassion, cleverly disguised as a productivity tip.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it completely changes the goal of time management. The goal is not to transform yourself into an unfeeling, hyper-efficient machine that never loses focus.
Because that's impossible.
Exactly, it's impossible. The goal is to build small, resilient systems that actively support your very human, very distractible brain. Even the most prolific, organized people in the world get distracted.
They're human too.
The difference is they just have better systems for returning to the task faster and with significantly less emotional baggage.
It is so incredibly liberating to hear that. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep coming back to the map.
Just keep coming back.
So let's take a quick look at the journey we've been on today. We started by exploring how time can slip away into the fog and how easy it is to get carried away by the currents of the internet river.
We examine the emotional weight of why we put off tasks, allowing them to ferment in the anxiety bakery until they become overwhelming monsters that we avoid facing.
We dissected the danger of fighting tiny imaginary fires just to get a dopamine hit and why we must choose better over simply doing more so we can finally stay on track.
And finally, we learned that to truly make the most of our days, we have to intentionally carve out time using a forgiving 5-step system that treats us like human beings who occasionally lose arguments with a blanket.
It is a complete upgrade to both your English vocabulary and your mental framework. But before we wrap up our conversation, I want to leave you with one final, slightly provocative thought to chew on.
Okay, let's hear it.
We spent this whole time looking at how natural English phrases treat time as a physical object, like something you have to actively carve out, something that can slip away from your grip.
Right.
It's almost always framed as a scarce resource you have to desperately manage, or an opponent you have to fight. But what if we flipped that entirely?
Flipped it how?
What if you stopped viewing time as an opponent and instead started treating it as a physical space you were simply choosing to inhabit?
Oh, wow.
If your day is just an empty room, and you're the one who gets to decide what furniture to put inside it, how would that change the way you draw your daily map? How much space would you give to the things that actually matter?
That is a wonderful paradigm shift for our listeners to consider. It moves you away from a constant state of scarcity and panic and puts you into a state of architecture.
Exactly. You are the architect of your own day. Thank you so much for carving out the time to join us today on the English Boost podcast. We know your time is immensely valuable, and we appreciate you choosing to spend it here with us. Your challenge for today is simple. Take just one small step. Pick 3 things over the document, and don't forget to give your minutes a lunch break. Keep practicing, be kind to yourself, and we will catch you next time.